Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, she's feeling overwhelmed. Well, if you're dating a woman and she tells you that she's feeling overwhelmed or that things are going too fast, that's not a good sign. What that usually means is that you're pursuing too hard, too fast, trying to spend too much time with her in a short period of time. And usually when guys are doing that, it's not so much that they want to spend time with her, it's usually out of a place of fear. In other words, if I don't spend time with her, she's going to forget about me, she's going to date that other guy that she mentions from time to time. In other words, it's all fear-based. And when you come from that place, you in essence start trying to force yourself into her life. And when you start doing that, it's just a matter of a short period of time before she gives you the let's just be friends speech, or she starts canceling dates on you. So I've got two emails I'm going to go through with you today. And before we get into the first one, I've got a quote that I wrote on this topic that I want to share with you. And we're going to go through and analyze the first guy's email. And the quote says, when men become too overeager and start trying to spend excessive amounts of time with women they just started dating, they run the risk of the women stating that they are feeling overwhelmed, things are moving too fast, or having canceled dates. It's essential for both men and women to pay attention to how much their new dating partner is investing into spending time together. If the other person starts backing away or becoming less available, the best thing to do is to back away yourself instead of trying to force yourself into their lives. They may go along with your forcefulness at first, but often will end things unexpectedly and abruptly because they feel like a loss of freedom is imminent. Always notice whether or not your desire to spend time with someone you care about is truly about having a great time together, or trying to spend time with them to prevent from losing them. If you fear losing them and charge ahead anyway, you will almost 100% of the time cause what you fear to happen, losing them for good. And I know it can be really tough, especially when you start dating somebody and she just knocks your fucking socks off. Things are going well, she's sending you emails, talking about how things are just so magnetic and all this thing that's happening between the two of you, and gushing about her feelings and how she feels so good when she's with you, and it's like it was meant to be. And you start to hear these things and you're thinking, all right, I fucking finally got it. And within a matter of days or a week or two, she starts canceling dates on you. And I know what that's like because I experienced that. And one of the women I wrote about in my book, this was a tough fucking lesson for me to learn. We started dating and she's sending me emails like that. And she's telling me how she was saving every email correspondence between the two of us and printing them out and keeping them so she could have something to look back upon. And like literally 2 weeks later, she's canceling dates on me. And it's just, when that starts to happen, I was so emotionally wrapped up in it, and I was just totally gonzo over at that point. It feels like having your fucking heart ripped out when you start seeing things like that. It goes from she can't stop thinking about you and texting you and calling you all day long to, oh, my cousin, she's having a really tough time, and I gotta be there for her. So I'm gonna have to cancel tonight. I'm really sorry. It's just, oh gosh, I'm just so busy. And you're thinking, oh, this fucking sucks. You're totally looking forward to seeing her again and kissing those beautiful lips. And yet she wants to go hang out with somebody who has some crisis, which usually is a bunch of bullshit anyways. So this first guy's email, when I go through it, it's like I totally can feel his pain. I know what he's going through because I've been there. And it stings like a motherfucker. Because you think hey, I got this shit. I got this figured out. This is awesome. And then boom. It's like a kick in the gut. He says, hey, Coach, I love your work, and it's inspirational and informative. You've really changed my life. I've been dating a gorgeous woman for about 5 weeks now, and it's been fantastic. I couldn't be happier. I've been applying what you teach from your book, videos, and articles, and things have been running like clockwork. Or so you thought. She's been doing 70 to 80% of the chasing, and I'm staying off the phone and setting dates when she reaches out, keeping it simple. Well, the thing you got to remember, and I talk about this in the book, is that really the man only has to start initiating contact for the first 2 to 3 dates usually. And then after that, it's like the woman kind of picks the ball up and starts running with it. It's like I talk about in the book. You call once a week and ask her out on one date. as her attraction level starts to grow, especially if it starts off where it's a really high level of attraction, like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're an 8 in her book, and like the woman I was talking about a few minutes ago in the video, that's what happened with her. I mean, she just right away started pursuing me hard, calling me during lunch, calling me in the afternoons, calling me at night, sending me emails, and talking about her feelings and how this wonderful thing that was happening between us. And all of a sudden, it's just like the plug got pulled like in a very short order because I got all wrapped up in that. But the key is that when a woman starts doing that, you really don't need to pursue her anymore. You don't need to call her anymore. So at that point, really, 100% of the pursuing should be done by her because she's naturally going to do that. It's not that you're manipulating or doing anything. Women are just naturally inclined to bond and connect. And when they really feel this way about you, when they start to get carried away on their emotions, that's what happens. And there's really no reason for the guy to initiate contact. In actuality, when the guy continues to do that 5 weeks out and he's still doing 20 to 30% of the pursuing, it's really unnecessary at that point. And you're going to see here in a second how that trips this particular guy up. He says, we've slept together numerous times, and she's even booked dates weeks in advance. We are at the stage where we have discussed and are both not seeing anyone else, but we're not in a relationship. She slowly opened up to me emotionally, detailing her past relationships with guys that were jerks and abusive, and they insisted on locking her down to a relationship and attempted to take control. When a woman shares things like that with you, she's basically saying, hey, don't be like these other dickheads that I've dated because I got rid of all of them. She's doing this because she's trying to help you because she really likes you and she wants things to work out. In other words, she's saying, here's where all the previous guys went wrong, and hopefully you'll be different. He says, we had a discussion recently about her wanting to go at her own pace as things escalated pretty serious pretty quickly between us. We were spending at least 3 to 4 days together by about week 3. Now remember, if you're spending that much time together, that's okay. However, if 3 weeks into it, you're spending 3 or 4 days together and you're still calling her and pursuing her 20 to 30% of the time, and you're spending that much time together that quickly, it's too much. That tells me that you're over pursuing. Women don't tell guys that they're in love with and they're chasing and they're doing all that pursuing with that they need to slow things down a little bit because she's the one driving it. It's just simply not going to happen. He says throughout the week, both at hers and mine going out, she said that she had been feeling overwhelmed. Well, that tells me that you're pursuing too much. You're getting wrapped up in the emotions of the event and this thing that's happening between the two of you, and you're starting to pursue too much. In other words, you're starting to exhibit the signs that the previous guys that screwed up with her were exhibiting. And so that tells me that you're not really following exactly what I teach. It's subtle because I know what it feels like. I did the same fucking thing. You start hearing all these things, you're like, oh, great. Now I can just really go 100 miles an hour. And you want to do that. Your heart just like carries you away. But you have to pay attention to what she's doing. Like I said, at this point, it's really unnecessary. There's really no need for you to be calling her and texting her 20 to 30% of the time at this particular point. It's actually counterproductive. It's counterproductive to the point where she's saying, I'm feeling overwhelmed. That means women say that to guys that are pursuing too much. Women say that when they start to feel like this is a relationship and you only been dating for a few weeks. That's not a good sign when you hear those words. He says, I know exactly what this meant. She feels as though it's getting like a relationship too quickly. I acknowledge how she feels and told her that I'm not looking to lock her down to a commitment and we should focus on having fun, enjoying each other's company, and see what happens. Well, instead of finishing her sentences for her and telling her, oh, I get this. In other words, you're making assumptions based upon what she's saying. The right approach is to say, when she says she's feeling overwhelmed, say, what do you mean, honey? Talk to me. Where are you coming from? I don't understand why you're saying you feel overwhelmed. And get her to reveal those things. Instead, you're just filling in the blanks going, hey, yeah, I remember a video that Corey did or something in his book, and so I know exactly what this means. And then you start kind of filling in the blanks. Don't do that. Ask the questions. Ask high-quality questions first. Never fucking make assumptions. That's part of your problem. You're putting your foot in your mouth. So I can already tell by what she's saying, you're over pursuing and you're making assumptions here. Just like I once did. You make assumptions that, hey, this is what she's feeling, this is great, I can continue to pursue, and then she'll fall in love and want to be in a relationship here. He says, I pull back as per your teachings, hearing her request that she wants to go at her own pace and slow down. So I've gone back to the once-a-week call for the last few weeks to make a definite date. What does that tell me? Here's a girl that was calling you and pursuing you a lot, and you're spending 3 or 4 days together per week, and now you're calling her once per week. What does that tell me? That tells me that she's completely backed off. In other words, she's making zero effort to reach out to you. In the beginning of your email, you're saying, I'm just waiting to hear from her and I'm making dates. If that was the case, you wouldn't have the need to call her once a week and set a date. So that tells me that you over-pursued to the point where she backed off completely and was doing nothing. Instead of waiting for her to come back, you continued to pursue. So you think you're doing one thing, but all I have to do is look at what she's saying and what she's doing. And that tells me that you've pushed and pursued too much, too soon, to the point where she's completely stopped 100% of her effort of reaching out to you. And this is exactly what the woman I've been talking about that I dated, it was a tough lesson to learn. This is what happened to me. It got to the point where even though it was once a week, I'm the one doing the pursuing. She's no longer sending me emails. She's no longer calling me. She's no longer calling me at my office. And I saw that. I'm thinking, okay, well, it'll just be another week or two and she'll get right back to where she was, because you fear backing off completely that you're not going to hear from her again. So he says, last Thursday we had a date. We went out and I cooked her dinner at her place. We talked a lot as usual, and she again opened up more emotionally, telling me quite some personal things. The next morning, she rang me to talk about a dream she had that we were discussing the night before. I kept it short and said I would speak to her later. We organized another date for during the week. She canceled that date with me the morning of. She's in sales, and she works 6 days a week with ridiculous hours, working late into the evening. So now you're rationalizing and you're making excuses for her. Women don't cancel dates with guys that they're head over heels in love with. They cancel dates with guys when they're feeling smothered, when the guy's pursuing too much, or it feels like a relationship and they're just not ready to be in a relationship yet. She said she was exhausted from her busy week and wanted to cancel and hoped I didn't mind. I would have said, well, we have plans. I want to see you. She's so busy. Remember, several weeks before, she's spending 3 or 4 nights a week with you. Now all of a sudden, she's so busy that she can't even spend 1 night per week with you. My bullshit meter is going, it's like, it's totally pegged. And yours should be too. He said, I replied saying, no dramas, we'll do it another time. I would have said, okay, no problem. Sure, I understand you're busy. Well, when you want to reschedule for her? And she'll probably say, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. She's just trying to get away from you at this particular point. She's backing away. Well, another thing that's a little bit of a red flag, the fact that she dated guys that tend to be abusive and controlling. Women who have self-esteem issues date guys like that. So in other words, that's kind of normal to her. It's normal to her to be in dysfunctional, messy relationships. He says she replied back saying, thank you, I appreciate it. This week has been epic. I'm exhausted. So tired. Notice how she's just really making a big deal out of how exhausted and how tired she is and how she just doesn't have the time to spend with you. But the bottom line is she's pushing you away. He says, I feel that her cancellation reason is legitimate. Come on, man. And there's no reason for her to lie. It's not that she's lying. She's just pushing you away. Because you're pursuing too much. You're making her feel like it's a relationship. You're starting to smother her. At some point, the power flipped. You were all excited when you're lovey-dovey, spending 3, 4 days together a week. And then when she started to back off, you didn't back off. You kept going 100 miles an hour until she told you that she was feeling overwhelmed. But by that point, it was pretty much too late. He says, she hasn't reached out to me yet, and I have no reason to think that she is now. I'm always judging her level of attraction. Well, I would say in this particular case, You have overrated her level of attraction. It's always better to underrate it and see what she does. He says, I've left it at that, and I haven't spoken to her since, and I'd like to know your thoughts. Do I wait until next week to call and make another date? Think about it. She just blew you off because she's so busy. So busy. This woman that was seeing you 3 or 4 nights a week, now she's so busy that she just can't make time in her busy schedule. When her attraction level is high, she fucking blows off her clients to spend time with you. She blows off her kids. She goes and drops her kids off at her mom's house or her dad's house or gets a babysitter. She clears her schedule. She ditches her friends for you. So absolutely not. That's disrespectful. It's rude. In other words, you're not a priority, dude. You're the low man on the totem pole in her life. In other words, I'm busy. I'm just so busy. I'd rather go make money than spend time with the love of my life. I'd rather go make money than have sex with you. Think about it. You're deluding yourself, brother. So what I would do is fucking nothing. She blew you off. Or wait for her to contact me again. You absolutely wait for her to reach out to you. Why would you want to call and set another date when she's just blown you off and canceled a date? What you should be doing, because remember, you're not exclusive. You should have other women that you can hang out and date. But you went and told her that you weren't dating anybody else, even though you're not officially exclusive. I wouldn't have done that. The key is to ask good quality questions. Are you saying that you want to be exclusive? No, it's still early. Okay, cool. Well, that means that you want to continue dating other guys that you're dating, and you want me to continue dating other women. Is that what you're saying to me? Okay. Well, it's like you can't say, well, you're not allowed to date anybody else, but we're not exclusive. You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's why you got to ask good quality questions. That tells me that you're not asking good quality questions, and you're kind of filling in the blanks for her. You're assuming that you know where she's coming from instead of asking her and making her tell you. He says, I feel as though I'm doing the right thing by giving her space and not chasing, and I can sense that her attraction level has dropped. Your thoughts are greatly appreciated. Well, like I said, at this particular point, I wouldn't do anything. Women start canceling dates when they don't want to see you. And the worst thing you can do is to continue to call and set dates, because all it communicates to her is, hey, it's okay to blow me off. It's okay to cancel on me at the fucking last minute. It's okay to wait until the day of that we got a date and then tell me how you're just so busy and the week is just, oh, you're so tired and so worn out. Fuck that. You got to chalk it up to experience, dude. Bottom line is you got all wrapped up in things and you kept pursuing and you ignored the fact that she was backing off, and you pursued and pursued and pursued to the point where she blew you off. So at this particular point, there's nothing you can do. I would wait to hear from her. And when you do hear from her, hey, babes, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? And this time, invite her to come over to your place and make dinner together. Why? You ain't going to go out of your way for this girl. She fucking blew you off. She wanted to go out and make money instead of spending time with you. Therefore, why should you be willing to go drive to her place, pick her up, take her out, and do all those things? If she wants to see you, she'd come to your place and make dinner together. If she wants you to take her out and go through some big production of a date, just say, you know what, it's just been a really long week. I'm really busy and I've been really exhausted, but you know what, I would love to see you. I'm just in the mood to hang. So if you don't want to come over and make dinner, then give me a call in a couple weeks, and then when things settle down, maybe we'll do something a little more formal then. In other words, you got to be willing to stand up for yourself and grow a set of balls, and just be, unless she's willing to come over to your place after she's disrespected you and blown you off, then say no. Just tell her you're too busy and you're just in the mood to hang and do something where you just kind of chill out, have a glass of wine or two or some coffee or tea or whatever, it doesn't have to be alcohol, and make dinner together. That's the best way to reestablish the power in the relationship. That's the best way to reestablish that, hey, it's not okay to blow me off at the last minute and go earn some money. I'm not a second-class citizen. And if she's unwilling to do that, then not that you're going to tell her this, but you're going to go and spend your time with another woman. But the point being is that you pursued too much. Instead of backing off and letting her do 100% of the pursuing, you continued to pursue things and escalate things because you thought she was all into you. And she was, but once the power started to flip, it's like you kept the hammer down and you didn't back off until it was pretty much too late. But that's pretty much all you can do at this particular point. So let's move on to the second email. And this guy says, "Hey coach, I want to thank you for putting this information out there for the public to use. I haven't bought your book yet." Well, what the fuck are you waiting for? "But I've watched almost all of your videos, all 1,500 of them." I find that hard to believe. "About relationships." And okay, so only about the ones about relationships. "And I have been seeing this girl for a while, and I've been applying your teachings and your techniques, and everything that you said would happen, happened. I'm just blown away because everything you teach just made her so predictable, and I knew exactly what was going on in the subtle hints that she gave off. I'm so glad I came across your site and your YouTube channel. This is just a thank you for everything because you've already helped me out." Well, awesome for you for being able to apply and control yourself. I would definitely say that you have exercised a lot more self-control than the guy in the previous email has. And so it's really important. The big takeaway from this video should be that once a woman starts pursuing you and calling you several times a week, there's really no reason for the guy to continue reaching out. When she does, you just set dates. Because if you do that, you allow her to come to you at her own pace. And if she's calling and texting you several times a week or several times a day and you're just making dates, you're never going to get that, "Oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed," or "Oh, we're spending too much time," to go, "Hey, we need to slow things down a little bit." Women only say that to guys that are overeager and pursuing too much, and that is just a fact of life. So the key is that when you see that, back off. But like I said, if you had done the appropriate thing, which is allowing her to do most of the pursuing, you wouldn't be in that situation where the woman is telling you that she is overwhelmed. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab, which will be at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.